present you Ukrainian culture through the small segments of musical vignette from the early Baroque music, classical music, romantic, post-romantic, impressionism, modern. So it will be 9 pieces that would give you a whole panorama of Ukrainian culture. And as you said, Professor, that music and culture, music and history, music and notes of freedom is very important to every nation, and particularly for a nation that have been subjugated or under stress, like Ukraine right now. And I'm very happy that you came here, because my voice is a part of our course of human value and dignity. I will start. I'm going to combine the visual elements, the pictures, and the music. I would like to dedicate this concert to people of Ukraine. When I saw this photograph, I've been told that this piano had been thrown away by the wave of the bomb from the 6th floor, and I've been told it's still playable. So for me, it's a kind of symbol of resilience of Ukrainian people still now. Many years ago, I was a student and I held a concert in the city of Mariupol. And even though it was a sign in front of the city, in front of the theater, that there were children over there, it's close to 600 families, people there, but Russia still bombed it. And for me, the next slide is even more kind of crucial sign of atrocity, because they didn't put this banners or walls. They put a very famous Russian poet, Pushkin, a very famous Russian writer, Leo Tolstoy, Ukrainian Russian Gogol, and Taras Shevchenko, who fought all his life against imperial oppression of Ukraine. And he was a slave, and he was been imprisoned for this. So this is another way, not only just to present Russian culture as a kind of block for the atrocities, but also to hijack Ukrainian culture that they've been doing for centuries. And I think that's very symbolic parts for me. I will start with the music by composer Dmytro Bortnyansky. You probably heard the music by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, 200 years. Actually, I played the concert for Bortnyansky and Mozart yesterday in China. But you know the music by Mozart, right? Can you raise the hand who heard music by Mozart? Okay, wonderful. How about Joseph Haydn? How about Bortnyansky? Excellent. This is why I'm here. This is why I'm here. Because I just want you to show the beauty of unknown classical music from Ukraine. History. Very important school of music exists that not even many Ukrainians know. It's called the Hluchiv Academy of Music, whereas most of the students been taken from this small town, and because of their education, they brought to imperial court in St. Petersburg for years and years and years and years. So very often you can say that the music in Russian Empire is being built on the concept of Ukrainian music, especially because of the choral music connected to the Western tradition with a polyphonic tradition. Polyphonic means many voices. In Russian at that time, predominantly monophonic, homophonic, like one line, not many lines. So, okay, just imagine I'm a priest in 18th century in Russian Orthodox Church, and I'm singing one line with a step up, step down. Ныне отпущаешь раба твоего, владыка, по главу твоему имени пресное выхиво. See this line up and down. At that time, in Ukraine it was 4, 5, 6, or 7 voices in polyphony. So, Bortnyansky was in St. Petersburg, and the chair of the St. Petersburg Capella was a very famous Italian composer whose name was Galuppi. So, Italian part and Ukrainian part. And he took Bortnyansky with him to Venice, where Bortnyansky wrote 6 operas in big stage in Venice. And after that, the Russian court asked him to come back. He didn't want to, according to the lore and stories. He was hijacked, kidnapped by Russian sailors in Venice and brought to St. Petersburg, where he became kind of musical servant of the heir to the throne, Paul the First one. Coup d'etat is always happened in Russia, and Paul became Emperor of Russia, and he appointed Bortnyansky top censor of the whole Russian music, Orthodox music. And Bortnyansky brought music from Ukraine, polyphonic singing, Italian elements, and in his time contemporary classical tradition. I'm going to play for you this piece because all his music almost vanished because of the... If you own me as a musician, you're a prince. Mozart and Haydn were lucky because they patrons allowed them to publish music. Allowed them to I'm sorry about that. Allowed them to publish music, but Bortnyansky didn't have this right. So all his music belonged to master. It's only one copy. This is why I'm going to play for you a piece that we found accidentally in Paris Academy of Music, and only in parts. And no dynamics, not even left-hand chords. So it's very few. However, he wrote 32 concertos for the choir. And I'm going to play it for you. So it will be Sonata by you know what? I changed my mind. Since I'm in the most important institution for me is the educational institution, and I can see students. I will give you a test, all of you. I'm going to play 1 minute of music by Haydn, 1 minute music by Mozart, and 1 minute of music by Bortnyansky. And I would like you to just guess, just identify, guess. Where is Bortnyansky? 1, 2, or 3? 2 is the world-known composers. 1 is unknown. Can I do this for you? Okay. Where's Bortnyansky? 1, 2, or 3? 2. 2. 3, 2, 1, 1. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. You all right. All right. If you would ask me to do this exactly the same, I would probably fail. My point is not to give you a test, no. My point is to bring you that if you put this music next to each other, it's very hard to identify where's Bortnyansky. It doesn't matter. Bortnyansky was the second one, but it doesn't matter because this is a high quality of music and it's not our fault that one is unknown and two is known. So all music should be embraced. This is why I'm going to play this piece. Actually, this piece was much earlier than Haydn and Mozart because he wrote this for harpsichord and piano. Harpsichord and piano. So this is why my left hand, just pay attention to my left hand, very simple, very, very easy. Because it was originally intended for improvisation. And very often in music in Europe, later, this idea of improvisation kind of lost. By the way, Bach, Johann Sebastian Bach, was known at his time, not as a composer, but as a wonderful improviser, by the way. So I'm going to play this piece for you. It's called Sonata in C major for piano or harpsichord. music of the early classical period in Ukraine and also in Eastern Europe and also in Russian imperial music too. And very few pieces survive. As I said, it's only part exists now in a French locality. Anyway, Beethoven. You will be surprised what kind of connection between Beethoven and Ukraine. Beethoven got a patron, a supporter in Vienna when he was really down in his emotional output and in personal life. A gentleman whose name was Andrei Razumovsky helped him. He was a count and he was ambassador and he was a lover of music. Not only this, but he also promoted Ukrainian culture in his art galleries and beyond. And he even built a little bridge that Beethoven can go to his palace. And what he did, Andrei Razumovsky, for the first time in the history of music civilization, he hired a musician to give Beethoven an opportunity to write his music, immediately walk across the bridge to hear how it's played, and the most important, after the end of the service of these musicians, he gave them a pension. Never ever happened before that. If you're employed, you've been paid. You're not employed, you're done. So, and because of this, Beethoven wrote the best quartet, Opus 158. And it's called Razumovsky Quartet as a homage to his patron. And he used a lot of Ukrainian tunes from the manuscript that Razumovsky gave to him. I'm not going to play these pieces by Beethoven, but I just want you to show this connection between culture of Europe and culture of Ukraine that exists for a long time. By the way, if you bear with me, gentleman whose name was Mozart before. You know where his son spent his life? Hans Mozart. He spent in Western Ukraine, in Lviv. 25 years he worked over there, and he established a Saint Cecile Academy of Music, which is the first academy of music in Ukraine. And he brought his father's music basically to Ukraine. But this is a different story, a different lecture. Actually, this is a place in Vienna where it was played. My next slide about Lysenko. Lysenko is if you won't remember any names today, just try to remember one name, Lysenko. He is a profoundly important composer in Ukraine. He is a founder of Ukrainian music. He wrote 40 volumes of music in all genres, from opera to, and only 20 volumes been published up to date. He was a wonderful musician, composer, and he studied in Leipzig. Because at that time, in 19th century, if you want to be educated, you're not going to France or Belgium, or you're going only to one place in the world that know the final truth. It's Germany, then Leipzig, if you want to be a musician. If you want to be a singer, only one place in the world is Milan. So Lysenko was studied over there, and he been asked even to teach in a school of music in Leipzig. Actually, this one. And but he moved to Ukraine. In all his life, he wrote for Ukrainian culture, for Ukrainian music. Don't even expect his music to be played. So all these volumes, the volumes of music, never been exposed to the general public. I'm going to play for you a couple of pieces by Lysenko, if I'll be able to press the button. So this is his name. And by the way, this is his photograph, and I think it's extremely profoundly important, this inscription. Embrace the whole world. Be brothers with the whole world. Never give up yourself to your executioners. And I think this kind of motto of his life and of his music as you said, history, music, culture, and freedom connected to output of this composer. By the way, this is a monument by Lysenko, and I pass this monument every day because I walk to Academy of Music from my apartment. So this is how it looks like in Kiev next to the Opera House. And when I was in Kiev last time, I saw this. So it's not only spiritual, cultural destruction, it's also tangible destruction of the country. And very often, resilience not with monuments or structures, but resilience is inside of people, in the heart, in the ability to celebrate. This is why I don't want my concert to be kind of self-pityness, with a cry, with a whining. No, I think that dark moment will pass, and we have to celebrate something much more special, much more important and joyful, meaningful than sorrowless, unfortunately. So I'm going to play for you this piece. It's called Elegy. Thank you very much. The next piece I'm going to present by the same composer, Lysenko. It's called Rhapsody, Dumka, Shumka. I knew that I'm going to be in this special place where layers of culture, history, poetry, literature, very vital and very present. So I will start with bandura. Bandura is a very old, ancient instrument in Ukraine. Probably the most folk ballads been written for this instrument. My guess is that it's not even Ukrainian, maybe it came from the Persian culture, I don't know. Because the mode of this bandura, like a harp, you could hear this is the mode of the most of the ballads. It's like this. It's very much Mediterranean or Persian with small jubilation. So the kind of like sign of it. So I think that we don't have records. We don't have records, but what we have a genre called Duma. Duma is a kind of epic old piece about the battles, about the heritage, about the lineage. By the way, I experienced exactly the same in Africa. The oral tradition of the master drummers, how they recite the poetry, how they recite the history, is almost exactly the same what happened with bandura. And Lysenko was the first one who incorporated the sound of bandura in the classical romantic tradition in the Rhapsody. By the way, the first one, Ferenc Liszt was trying to do this in his Rhapsodies, and a little bit of Brahms, but not intentionally like Lysenko. And I'm going to show you these themes in this piece, if you don't mind. So this is the instrument of bandura. And I decided to bring this picture for you. This is folk traditional, almost like icon. This is called Kazakh Mamai. He's a warrior. He's a warrior. But can you tell me where is his spear? In front or in the back? In the back. Where is his sword? It's very unusual, right? Because if you want to present the soldier, he has all this regalia and where is his pistol? Rifle, whatever. On the side. His brother, his horse, his warrior horse, on the side. What is in front of you? And this is, to some extent, this is essence of the mentality of Ukrainians. Very often they present the art and culture in front of them. Yes, it should be defended. Yes, it should be protected. But what we have protected? We have protected something very special to us. So this is one of the versions of bandura. And you will see thousands and thousands paintings, 16th century, 17th, 18th, 19th, almost like an icon. And very often, if you go into the village in Ukraine in 19th century, you will see 4 elements in a house, on a hut. Icon, embroidery, like this one. Around the windows, probably the volume of Taras Shevchenko, poetry of Taras Shevchenko, and quite possible this painting. So it's not just a painting, it's a symbol of. And Lysenko was using these elements of bandura in his Rhapsody. I'm going to show you later. But also he used the element of the girls' dance, of the children's song, of the Cossack piece. And now I'm going to help you to follow me. This will be sound of bandura. Just imagine this kind of harp-like sound. Instrument. Next one, if you hear this music, it will be girls' dance. If you hear this piece, it will be kids or children's song. Very simple. This will be a man or Cossack dance. If you would like, I'm going to play this piece for you. If you hear the girls dance, clap. If you hear the children's dance, clap twice. Just kidding. But do that. Rhapsody by Mykola Lysenko on a Ukrainian themes called Dumka, Shumka. But by the way, this also name Dumka means a thought, or Shumka is a noise. So it's not classically arranged piece, but more for entertainment, for fun. I plan to have some elements of drums, but next time, because it's thank you. And actually very few photographs survive. It's only one photo. You see, this not good quality photographs. It's only one photograph exists about this composer. And I will tell you the truth, that the photograph that we found, he has a kind of hat, big hat. An editor of the first edition of his music, he decided to take his hat off. So we don't even know, is it curly hair, is it straight hair? So this is how sometimes history been written in Ukraine. But his actually two brothers came from Kharkiv to, you know where? To St. Petersburg, the same capella that Bortnyansky started. And both of them were in St. Petersburg, and his brother, whose name was actually Dev Akimenko, this is his pen name, because older brother was Akimenko and young brother decided to take a pen name. He was a professor in St. Petersburg Academy. By the way, have you heard the name Igor Stravinsky? It's quite a famous composer in Russia. The first teacher of Fedir Stravinsky was this man. And the reason is that Lysenko was a good friend of the father of Igor Stravinsky, who was also Ukrainian. And when the Igor Stravinsky father, who was a singer, he said, ask Lysenko, with whom my kid should start lesson in harmony, he said, with this man. So even though they worked in Russian imperial court, but they were actually from Ukraine, and they connected to Ukraine very much. I'm going to 1922, two brothers, one stayed in Ukraine, died in 1 year, as usual. This one went to Paris, and his name been erased from the history of music, because he was a traitor, according to the... I never played his music. I started playing his music only just a couple of years ago. His music was unknown. He wrote these pieces in Paris, and there's a very strong influence of Impressionism. So I'm going to play this piece called Capricious Sea by Fedir Akimenko, probably with influence of Impressionism. So this is why I brought this piece. I just wanted to show a different kind of facets of Ukrainian music and culture. Akimenko, Capricious Sea. painting is from Crimea. When I was in Crimea many years ago, Myroslav was actually he's a Armenian painter, and his art gallery in Feodosia. Now all his painting now not in Ukraine. It's been taken. I decided to include this piece for you because it's not only old tradition. He's my friend. I studied with him. For many years, and when the war begins, I don't want to play only classical music. I said, you know, Victor, write for me something that I can share with people. And he said to me, you know what, I can. Because everything is so close to me. Everything is so painful still. I can write music. And I started nagging him, and then he said, I said to him, you know what, write for me your thought in music. Not the music, just the thought. And he wrote for me three pieces. One of the pieces that I'm going to play for you, it lasted only 1 minute, 2 minutes. It's just a thought. And he said to me, it's just my thought about being in isolation and think about something very special and very painful that you don't want even to talk about this. So it's the piece called Passacaglia. Passacaglia in Italian Latin means procedure, the movement, passage, Passacaglia. And when I was in Ukraine, I was every morning from my apartment, I was walking uphill, and this man just walked just in front of me, very slowly, long hill, and talked to someone on a cell phone. And every time when I'm playing this piece now, this young man walking very slowly uphill. It was a couple of years ago, in this place. So I'm going to play for you this piece called Passacaglia from the triptych by my friend Viktor Stepurko. Art Academy. Look, students like you know, And suddenly, in the middle of this band presentation, all these people, close to 300 people were there, stand up and quietly move away around me. And I thought to myself, what I did wrong? What I said something. And I found out that all these kids, all the students, in the phone, in the pockets, they have a cell phone when with a bomb alert, on the silent mode. None of them put it, no, and they, as soon as they start bombing, they moved down. And for me, it was a shocking experience, because instead of just a couple of hours, I spent maybe 4 or 5 hours in the bomb shelters. And they were so proud. They said, you know what, it was horrible concrete walls, and you put painting around this. Because they live in this way over the last 5 years. And the kind of bright young ladies, it's called Salvador Dali Academy of Contemporary Art. And so I remember this girl, and she said to me, I was knitting because when they started bombing, I was so nervous. I became kind of almost paralyzed, so I'm doing something with my hands. Anyway, I'm going to play one more piece of my friend with whom I work in the Academy of Music. How you use time, okay? Or,
yeah, 9 o'clock.
Huh?
9 o'clock. 9 o'clock.
Okay. First of all, I'm very grateful for you, because as a professor, I know that some attention to something new, 15 minutes max. After that, my students looking around, looking forward. Because a lot of new names, new music. Thank you so much for being patient. Because it's not easy sometimes to carry through. I'm greatly appreciated. Since you're the best, I'm going to give you a hard time. I'm going to play a piece with a lot of dissonances. A dissonance means the bad intervals. This is a good interval. And this is called dissonance. I'm going to play this piece for you. It's called Burlesque. It's intense. It's a lot of contemporary elements here. So don't give up. But this is beautiful. And I played this piece years ago, and I play differently than now. This circumstances of my life and life in Ukraine, and give a different meaning of this piece to me. So I'm going to share with you my current versions of this music. It's called Burlesque. interesting that it's a very intense piece, and you know, I worked with this composer in the same academy for years, and he never told me that when he was a kid, 5 years old, he was exiled to Siberia and Kazakhstan from Western Ukraine in 1944, 45, for life. And only because of the death of Stalin, he was able to move back, and he started to write his music, and he started to incorporate the jazz. Jazz was a prohibited genre when I was a student. I was expelled from Academy of Music for playing jazz quietly. So it was a different time. So anyway, but this is a long story. Now I'm going to, you know what? By the way, you know what? This will be interesting endings, because I thought I will skip this. Who knows this tune? It's called Shevchenko. It's kind of Carol of the Bells, even though it's nothing to do with Christmas. Nothing to do with Christmas. It's very old, ancient call for sun to come, for spring to come, for prosperity. Very often, men form the circle in the mountains and almost like a trance, like you know, dervishes or whatever, you know, for hours in bring. And Leontovich, the composer Leontovich, he made these arrangements, among many others. This choir brought this piece for the first time to America. Why? 1919, Ukraine was an independent country, 1920, and Russian cracked independence. But before this, government of Ukraine sent ambassadors, cultural ambassadors to Europe, to embassies. And when the choir on tour, Russians conquered Ukraine. So choir became stateless. And after 1.5 years wandering around, they ended up in New York. The first time in 1922, in New York, people heard this music kind of openly. And it became. And this gentleman, whose name is George Gershwin, maybe you heard about him, maybe not, but he wrote one of the first operas. It's called Porgy Bess, about black people, black slaves. And he brought this black character for the first time from the bottom to the stage of Metropolitan Opera. And one of the famous aria in this opera is called Summertime. I don't know if you heard this music. Summertime and the lazy. So, but this is not just American music. This music from Ukraine, because his grandfather from Odessa, and this is a Ukrainian lullaby. It's called "Oh, My Dream Is Walking Around the Windows." I'm going to combine for you these two elements, because somebody mentioned before the concert, oh, I would like to hear some jazzy stuff. So I'm going to play for 1 minute, talking of my appreciation, blending Summertime and Gershwin with Shevchenko. I'm trying to be on time. I'm trying to be on time. This last painting from the same painter, and he gave me this kind of present, and he wants to this painting to deliver to Ukraine. It's still in the studio. It's still called Wounded Bird. And on this note, I really want to bow to you, because you came to this concert not just to hear the music. You came to this concert just to support Ukraine and support our dignity, our human dignity. And as I said in the old Negro spiritual, we shall overcome one day. Thank you so much.